Hello dear student, in this topic we will discuss one of the most important topics of biology, the cell structure. Examiners love this topic, so let's make sure you understand it inside out. So in this topic we will discuss the cell structure and levels of organization of your body. The main cells in our syllabus, animal cell and plant cell. So let's first label the structures of animal and plant cell. As you see, the outer layer surrounding the animal cell is the cell membrane. All what's inside the cell membrane we call the cytoplasm. The largest and darkest part of the cell, بنقول عليها organelle, is called the nucleus. And lastly, some small vacuoles inside the animal cell. Okay, let's go to plant cell quickly. Again, the plant cell is surrounded by, again, a cell membrane. All what's inside the cell membrane is called the cytoplasm. Inside the plant cell, there is the nucleus too. There is the sap vacuole. And outside the cell membrane, there is the cell wall. Okay? And a specific organelle that's present only in the plant cell, chloroplasts. Okay, so this is a label diagram. You need to label the structures of the cell, plant cell and animal cell. Let's draw it from scratch together. Let's draw and compare the animal and plant cell at the same time. This is the animal cell. And this is the plant cell. I'm drawing structures in black. This means similarities. Colored structures are differences. Okay? So these are the similarities. The outer layer surrounding the animal cell, again, we said cell membrane. Notice the drawing should be neat, tidy. The line should be confident, single line, not sketchy, not shady, not interrupted. Yani, if your lines are interrupted, you lose a mark. If it's sketchy, you lose a mark. If you draw and it's a tailed, incomplete line, it's a -1. So take care of the quality of your line. So back to the drawing. One single, thin, clear, dark line surrounding the cell. This is the cell membrane. Also the plant cell has a cell membrane. So this is a similarity. All what's inside we call the cytoplasm. Plant cell too have a cytoplasm. It's a similarity. In the center of the animal cell, a large, darkly stained structure in the cell, or organelle of the cell. This is the nucleus. Plant cell also contains a nucleus, but it is pushed to the side. There is a structure in the middle that pushes all other structures to the side. يبقى again in black, the similarities, the main similarities between the animal cell and plant cell, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. Let's go for differences. Small vacuoles. There is numerous small vacuoles inside the animal cell. Small vacuole. And the vacuole is a small structure used for storage. You have multiple vacuoles in the animal cell and it's temporary. يعني temporary, يعني constantly being formed and removed. The animal cell, whenever the animal cell wants to store something, it puts it inside a single membrane organelle and keeps it in the cytoplasm. مثلا waste products put inside a vacuole until excretion. يبقى بتتكون and then removed outside of the cell. يبقى temporary مؤقتة. Okay? طيب, plant cell will have in the middle a large sap vacuole. Large sap vacuole. And it's different from the vacuole of the animal cell لأنها permanent. Permanent يعني إيه؟ يعني it doesn't rupture or doesn't disappear. Okay? It's important for storage of water and minerals. وهي the structure occupying the center, pushing all structures aside. طيب. Other structures, green in color, multiple structures we call chloroplast. Okay, yeah, but this is an organelle or a structure present in the plant cell, not in the animal cell. Outside the cell membrane, there is the cell wall. I want you to imagine that the cell wall is a thick frame surrounding the plant cell. وعايز أقول إن هو له thickness. Thickness يبقى I have to represent it by a double line. I will consider the cell membrane one line, and then I will put another line above the cell membrane, outside the cell membrane. يبقى شكله كده. Okay, so this is the cell wall. Make sure that you use a label line. What do we mean by label line? يعني straight line pointing to the structure. زي كده, and accurately pointing to the structure. There is no arrow. Arrow means direction. يبقى احنا لو عملنا كده, this means direction. There is no direction. You're simply pointing to a structure. يبقى no need for the arrowhead. Okay? طيب. Where do I put my label line exactly? If you want to show that there is a thickness, you have to put it in between the two lines. It's acceptable and okay if you put it on the outer line, but on the inner line, this is the cell membrane. Okay? So again, similarities between the animal cell and plant cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. Differences: on the animal cell, you'll find small vacuole. On the plant cell, you'll find large subvacuole, chloroplast, and the cell wall. Let's go for each structure of the cell. Each part of the cell is called organelle. So let's go for organelles. Organelle means parts of the cell. So each structure inside the cell we call an organelle. The first organelle is the cell wall, the surrounding cell wall. يبقى this is a cell wall surrounding the plant cell X. Okay? طيب. The cell wall is made of cellulose, and cellulose is a type of sugars, type of carbohydrates. It's tough, it's wood-like. That's why they say it's very strong and supportive to the plant. يبقى it's made of cellulose, so it protects and supports the cell. This is a function of the cell wall. It protects and supports the cell. Another function is that it prevents the plant from bursting when the water enters. When water enters inside the plant, the pressure inside the plant increase, the plant cell increase. So the pressure increase, the plant cell tends to rupture, burst, عايزة تفرقع, tends to burst. But due to presence of a frame اللي هو الcell wall, it prevents the bursting of the cell. And this is valuable because it helps the plant cell to harbor high pressure. ممكن تبقى a high pressure cell. وهنتكلم عن الكلام ده next topic. Okay, so أقدر أقول it prevents bursting of the cell and it maintains high pressure inside the cell to keep the plant cell firm. So functions of the cell wall: it supports and protects the plant cell, prevents the bursting on entry of water, will maintain pressure to keep the plant firm. And we will add a little bit for this pressure concept in topic 3. طيب, one more point. It is freely permeable. What do I mean by freely permeable? Permeable means allow passage of molecules. Freely permeable, it allows passage of all types of molecules. Next organelle or structure is the cell membrane. Again, we have 3 pieces of information that we need to know. It is selectively permeable. يعني إيه selectively permeable? Allow passage of some molecule. It allows passage of some molecules and stop others. So partially permeable means allow passage of some molecules and stop others. Selectively permeable means it select the passage of molecule. Which molecule exactly to pass? For instance, if we have calcium, potassium, sodium, a lot of molecules outside the cell, and the cell is short in calcium only, so it just needs calcium. نفتح channels, calcium channel. Each molecule has a specific channel. Open only the calcium channel, allow calcium to pass to satisfy the needs of the cell, and then close the channel. And the cell membrane would not allow passage of any other molecule. So the function of the cell membrane is that it allows passage of molecules in and out of the cell. Okay, one more piece of information: it is composed of proteins and lipids. يبقى لما نقول we have to eat proteins and lipids, ليه؟ علشان الجروث. What's the relation between growth and proteins and lipids? ما عشان يحصل growth it has to have a cell division. Cell division means formation of cells and cell membrane and organelles. وكل الcell membrane والorganelles are made of proteins and lipids. Next organelle is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance, transparent, jelly-like consistency, and it contains the cell organelles, all of them embedded يعني موجودين sinking into the cytoplasm. It has two very important functions. It is the site of most of chemical reactions. Most of the chemical reactions of the cell occur in the cytoplasm. ليه؟ علشان it's full of enzymes and water molecules. Number two, it is the site of storage of food and waste. Any molecules that require storage, we put it in a vacuole inside the cytoplasm. So again, functions of the cytoplasm, it is the site of chemical reaction, suitable for chemical reaction and site of storage of molecules. Next, organelle is the biggest and the darkest اللي هو nucleus. The nucleus you took before, it's the brain of the cell. يعني إيه the brain of the cell? It controls all cell activity. Nucleus control all cell activities, which are the vital cell activities required to sustain life of the cell. يعني إيه؟ اللي هم المسجرين characters. The 7 characters of living organism. Nutrition, reproduction, excretion, sensitivity, and so on. يبقى all of these important vital يعني مهمة قوي for sustaining life. Okay. Activities are under control of the nucleus. طب ليه؟ Because the nucleus contains chromosomes and DNA which carry genetic codes. يعني the nucleus contains the DNA carry the genetic codes, and this codes for all types of important proteins that control the activities. يبقى it is controlling all activities because it produces the important enzymes and hormones. Number 3, cell division. It's very important for cell division. It is responsible for dividing cells وطبعا reproduction والgrowth. Okay? يبقى when the cells are dividing, nucleus start the division and controls the rest of the division. Next organelle is the mitochondria. We need you to identify the shape of the mitochondria and the function. The mitochondria looks like a sausage shape or an oval shape with an outer smooth membrane, and an inner membrane that gives folding, inner folded membrane. يبقى لو لقيت sausage shape or oval shape structure, the outer membrane بتاعه smooth والinner is folded, this is the mitochondria. You're required to identify mitochondria in a diagram زي ده أو in a photograph. يعني إيه photograph أو photomicrograph? Electron microscope photograph. Okay, so this is the outer membrane and this is the inner folded membrane. يبقى this is the mitochondria. So labeling, this is the mitochondria. What about the function of the mitochondria? The mitochondria is responsible for energy release. It is the site of respiration, aerobic respiration and energy release. Inside the mitochondria where the food is broken down to release energy. طب اشمعنى inside the mitochondria? It contains enzymes. It has enzymes responsible for respiration. That is why it is involved in respiration. If I need you to identify the shape of the mitochondria, label the mitochondria, and state the function of the mitochondria. Next organelle is the ribosomes. In your syllabus, you need to know the ribosomes. Ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis or protein production. These are the small factories that work to produce protein. طيب فين الريبوزومز؟ هي السمول granules دي. These are the ribosomes. Okay? The smallest organelle of the cell, the most abundant. أكتر organelle صغير، أكتر organelle منتشر. Abundant أو prevalent يعني منتشر في السل. Okay? طيب you might find it free in the cytoplasm, free ribosomes, or on the top of a tube system. التيوب system ده هنسميه endoplasmic reticulum. endo يعني inside, plasmic يعني cytoplasm, reticulum means شبكة أو network. يبقى this is a network of tubes inside the cytoplasm. Okay, so the ribosomes are either free in the cytoplasm or attached on top or the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. So the factory of protein هم الribosomes. They're responsible for secretion or production or synthesis of all types of protein in your body. the ribosomes. Next organelle is the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are only found in the plant cell. طيب, how do I know the shape of the chloroplast? How do I know the structure of the chloroplast? Under light microscope هلاقي الكلوروبلاست اهي. It appears as an oval, small, green structure. This is the chloroplast. Okay? Under electron microscope appears bigger, a little bigger, وعندها membranes that contain green substance اسمها chlorophyll. It has membranes اهي containing chlorophyll. وقلنا الchlorophyll is responsible for trapping of sunlight for photosynthesis. يعني أقدر أقول إن الchlorophyll converts the light energy into chemical energy اللي هما السugars. يبقى what's the function of chloroplast? It contains chlorophyll which is responsible for converting the light energy into chemical energy. يعني أخد the light energy وأحولها into sugars والsugars contain الchemical energy. طيب, another function after synthesis of the sugar, it's stored as starch. والstarch stored هنا inside the chloroplast. ماشي? as a darkly stained granules. يبقى dark stained granules دي starch granules. يبقى this is another function. Stores the starch granules. يبقى again functions of the chloroplast. Number 1, containing chlorophyll, converting the light energy into chemical energy, traps and absorbs sunlight, converted to chemical energy. Number 2, store starch granules. So recapping back, the comparison between animal cell and plant cell, both have the cell membrane, both have a cytoplasm and a nucleus, both have mitochondria and ribosomes. Take care that mitochondria and ribosomes are not drawn in the section we drew of the animal cell and plant cell because this is under light microscope. We only draw them if it's under electron microscope, but they are a similarity between animal and plant cell. In the animal cell, it has just a small vacuole, temporary vacuole. Okay, in the plant cell, it has a subvacuole, cell wall, chloroplasts that are not found in the animal cell. One more point is the storage of food. The sugar is stored in the animal cell in the form of a molecule called glycogen. Large branched molecule اسمها glycogen. طب in the plant cell برضو large molecule بس ايه starch. يبقى the storage form of sugars في animal cell is different than the plant cell. في animal cell we call it glycogen. In the plant cell we will call it starch. A third type of cell is the prokaryote, the bacterial cell. Let's draw it in the same manner as animal and plant cell. Again, bacterial cell, whatever I draw in black is a similarity with the animal and the plant cell. In color, this means differences. Okay? Bacterial cell. So, the outer layer surrounding the cell, this is the cell membrane. All what's inside the cell membrane is the cytoplasm. Again, it has a cytoplasm. Okay, I should be drawing the nucleus right now. Only the bacteria is called a prokaryote. A cell with no true nucleus, which means it doesn't have an area surrounded by membrane اسمها nucleus, but it does have a DNA. يبقى the bacteria has DNA, just not inside a nucleus. طب the DNA of the bacteria exists in two forms. عندها large loop or circle of DNA هسميه circular DNA أو loop DNA, and small circles of DNA called plasmid. يبقى كمان مرة, what's a prokaryote? It's a cell with no true nucleus. So does the bacteria have DNA? Yes, it does, but it has DNA free in the cytoplasm in two forms. Loop DNA أو circular DNA and plasmids. Plasmid ممكن يبقى 1, 2, 3, multiple, أي حاجة. Okay? طيب. Another structure that we talked about today present in the bacteria, these are the ribosomes. Ribosomes. Okay? And another structure surrounding the cell membrane from the outside. This is called the cell wall. يبقى the similarities between this cell and the other two cells, cell membrane, cytoplasm, cell wall and ribosomes. This is for basic core. لما نكبر شوية هنعرف إنه الcell wall is different, a little bit different عن plant cell made of something else, and the type of ribosomes are different. For now, this is a similarity. طيب. These structures are present in most of the bacterial cell, all bacterial cell. Are there any other structure that are present in some bacteria and absent in others? Two structures. Okay? We have this long structure, maybe few, 2, 3, few long structure that look like a tail. This is the flagellum. Flagellum is the organ of motion. يعني movement of the flagellum pushes the bacteria forward. يبقى those types of bacteria that has flagellum they spread faster. ليه؟ لأن هم بيعرفوا يتحركوا faster. طيب sometimes you get a disease, flu مثلا, and we give you antibiotic and you get cured. إزاي you got cured؟ الانتيبيوتيك killed the bacteria. طب هو ايه الميكانيزم اللي بيخلي الانتيبيوتيك to kill the bacteria؟ The antibiotic breaks down the cell wall. يعني الانتيبيوتيك usually or one of the most effective mechanism is to break down the cell wall. طب if it breaks down the cell wall, water enters into the cell swells and then bursts. وخلاص كده البكتيريا is killed. Okay? طيب some other times you get the same type of disease, flu برضو, and we give you the same antibiotic and you're not cured. This means you have a different type of bacteria that is more resistant to the antibiotic. يعني ايه resistant؟ يعني can withstand, تقدر تستحمل الانتيبيوتيك, is not dead from the antibiotic. اوكي؟ طيب ايه الفيتشر اللي عندها extra coverage او extra layer outside the cell wall. اهي like this. So this extra layer is called slime capsule. يبقى again, what's common in all types of bacteria, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, the ribosomes, and the cell wall. Some bacteria will have extra flagellum, others will not. Some bacteria will be capsulated, يعني surrounded by a capsule, which gives more protection. Others do not have a capsule. And that's it for the labels of the bacterial cell. Let's go back to the shape of the bacteria. So, نقدر نقول this is the cell membrane. This is the cytoplasm. Okay, cell wall. The outer layer is the capsule, slime capsule. This is the flagellum. This is the circular DNA. This is the plasmid. And these are the ribosomes. Okay? See, these are the flagella. And they are important organ of motion of the bacteria. Not all animal cells look alike. Not all plant cells look alike. The animal cells and plant cells are adapted. يعني adapted يعني there are some changes that occur to the structure to be more suited to the function. Let's take some examples. Okay? Like the sperm cells and the egg cells. What are the similarities between the animal cell and sperm or ovum cells? This is the sperm. It has a cell membrane. Okay. It has a cytoplasm. It has a nucleus. Okay, these are similarities. What are the differences بقى? Adaptations or differences of the sperm. It has a tail, number 1, for swimming, that helps the movement of the sperm. Number 2, it has a gland at the front of the head to secrete digestive enzymes to help it penetrate the ovum. The egg cell also has similarities. This is the cell membrane. This is the cytoplasm. And inside here, there is the nucleus. Okay, طب what are the differences? The egg cell is a largest cell of the body. It contains food store. يبقى this is a food store. Food store which is responsible for nourishment of the embryo. كمان الممbrane surrounding the egg cell is changeable. After fertilization, it gets thicker and prevents more sperms entering inside the ovum. يبقى هناخد again, we'll talk about this in topic 16, the reproduction. Just enumerating some of the adaptations of other animal cell. Let's look at the nerve cell. Again, similarities. We have cell membrane, okay, cytoplasm, and here is the nucleus. Okay, طب how about the differences? شايفين a long extension? This is a long extension. أهو, and these are extensions coming out of the cell. Again, we'll take the structure in details in topic 14. We're just showing that some cells are different. These extensions are responsible for connecting this nerve cell or neuron with the previous neuron and the next neuron. يبقى responsible for connection between neurons. Well, connection is helpful for إيه? Helpful in transmitting the nerve impulse. Again, we'll discuss the rest of the structure later. Next, RBCs and white BCs, red blood corpuscles and white blood cells. طيب, RBCs, they are similar in the animal cell, in the cell membrane. عندهم cell membrane. They have some cytoplasm, but they are missing the nucleus. There is no nucleus. ليه there is no nucleus? Because it contains a protein molecule inside called hemoglobin. شايلة بدل النيوكليس inside, شايلة protein molecules هنسميه hemoglobin. Hemoglobin combines with oxygen, يعني بيتransport oxygen. What's the function of RBCs? Transport of oxygen from the lung to all body cells. How is it adapted? It contains hemoglobin molecule which combines with oxygen to carry the oxygen. It has no nucleus to give more room or carry more hemoglobin. It is small, flexible, it fits inside tiny capillaries. It is biconcave. يعني ايه biconcave؟ يعني لو بصيت على الشيب هلاقيها curving to the inside على upper surface, كمان curving to the inside على inner surface. فبسمي ده concave وده concave, يبقى اتنين concave biconcave. طيب, any folds, any type of folds معناها higher surface area. يبقى في الستراكشر خلينا متفقين if there is a fold there is a high surface area. طيب, يبقى الcell needs to be biconcave to increase the surface area and this will affect the rate of diffusion. هيسرع, affect the rate of diffusion. طيب, again we'll continue about the RBCs in topic 9. White blood cells, on the contrary, a little bigger. They are similar to the animal cell. Again, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the nucleus. It has a nucleus on the opposite or contrary of RBCs. عندها nucleus. Okay. Adaptation بقى shape of the nucleus and it contains vacuoles, a lot of vacuoles علشان يبقى فيها digestive enzymes to break down the bacteria, and we'll take this later in topic 10. Next, there is a ciliated cells. Ciliated cells, these are columnar cells. Looks like a rectangle with hair-like structures on its top. The hair-like structures دي is characterized by movement. They sweep up the dust particles. They are present in the trachea and the branches of the trachea. So they are lining the trachea. They keep moving or brushing, نقول عليها sweeping أحسن, sweeping foreign body outside the respiratory system. مين الفورين body؟ mucus, dust, bacteria, particles of food دخلت غلط. Any foreign body, the airway is supposed to have air only. Any foreign body enters, is trapped and swept up outside the respiratory tract by the cilia. In between, في النص ما بين السيلز بلاقي other small cells زي دي. This one. Okay. Looks funny shape شوية. This is called goblet cells. Goblet cell. Goblet cell is responsible for secretion of the mucus. And the mucus is a sticky substance inside your nose. And this is responsible for sticking of the dust particles and help cough it out. Okay? يبقى these are the cells, adapted cells of the respiratory tract. Let's go to the adapted plant cells. انت عارف شكل البلانت سيل، احنا اتفقنا سيل ممبرين، سيل وول، كلوروبلاست، فاكيول، كل حاجه. طيب this is a root hair cell. how is it adapted؟ اهي خلينا نكبر شويه نشوف فين الروت هير سيل. اوكي this is a cell اهو كده. اوكي so this is the cell wall, double line. That's the cell wall. Okay, it contains a nucleus اهي, contains a vacuole. It has an extension. Okay, يبقى خلينا نرسمها هنا. We'll take it later again in topic 8. Cell membrane, cell wall, long extension, nucleus, vacuole. Okay, and it's missing the chloroplast. No need for chloroplast. It is a root hair cell. It's under the soil, not exposed to light, not performing photosynthesis. يبقى ايه لازمة الكلوروبلاست؟ Okay, يبقى الامبورتنس بتاعتها long tubular extension increases surface area. And there are some more adaptations that we will discuss later in topic 8. Palisade cell is the leaf cell, the one responsible for photosynthesis. The primary function of palisade cell, أهم function هو الphotosynthesis. This is the cell. شكلها rectangular شوية. Do you see the double line? This is the cell wall. The dark structure on the side, this is the nucleus. These small structures on the side, these are the chloroplasts. Okay, so this is the palisade cell. Again, we'll discuss this in details in topic 6. Another example for adapted cells, the xylem vessel. Function of the xylem vessel, it transports up water and minerals. So the water and minerals are supposed to go up. Transport water and minerals. So in order to transport water and minerals, these cells are hollowed from the inside. They are hollow, they are dead, they form a tube, a vessel, okay, and strengthened by a molecule called lignin. The lignin gives strength to the xylem, and the tube of the vessel becomes hollow, continuous from the inside. This reduces the resistance to the water. The water ascend. During the water ascend up the xylem, there is no structures. مفيش cytoplasm, مفيش nucleus, مفيش organelles, nothing to resist the water ascend. مفيش حاجة تعطل الwater إنها تطلع up to the leaf. يبقى having this type of cell that has all its organelle removed is important to decrease the resistance for the water ascend up the plant. طيب, these are some examples of adapted cells. Let's talk about the levels of organization. يبقى what we talked about in the cell is parts of the cell. So each part of the cell we call an organelle. Okay, the nucleus organelle, the ribosome organelle, the mitochondria organelle, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, each one is called an organelle. Okay, يبقى this is the nucleus, this is the cell membrane, this is the mitochondria, this is the vacuole, this is the ribosome, okay, and the rest, that's not in your syllabus much. Okay, this is the cytoplasm. Great. So a group of organelles, they form a cell, okay? A group of similar cells, a group of cells that are similar in structure and function, this is called the tissue. Like مثلا the nervous tissue, a lot of cells, all of them of the same shape and the same function, so this is the tissue. Example, nervous tissue, connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, similar cells, similar in structure and function. Okay, طيب, a group of different tissues but they work together the same function. This is the stomach. Stomach عندها tissue that muscle tissue عشان يhelp the movement of the food inside the stomach. عندها columnar tissue, this secretes the enzyme. عندها nervous tissue, this controls the movement of the stomach. عندها another tissue that secretes HCl. يبقى different tissues but they all perform the same digestive function. يبقى this is called an organ. A group of different organs but they work together the same function, this is called organ system. يعني عندنا هنا lungs, عندنا البرونكس, عندنا التراكية, عندنا الفارynx, النوز, اللارynx. All of these are different organs but they all work together the same respiratory function. So this is called an organ system. Okay? So a group of systems they form the organism. يبقى احنا عندنا two types of organism. A multicellular organism and a unicellular. يعني unicellular يعني the whole body is made of one cell. Example, the bacteria or the prokaryote. Multicellular يعني like the human or the animal or the plant. يبقى you have many cells, millions of cells forming the body. يبقى multicellular يعني the body is composed of many cells. Unicellular composed of one cell. Okay, so the levels of organization, قلنا organelles form cell, cells similar in structure and function form tissue, different tissues work together the same function is an organ, different organs working together the same function, organ system, different system يبقى organism. ها لو كان multicellular إنما في unicellular organism that has one cell in its whole body. هنسمي ده levels of organization. Let's look at this question. Figure 4.1 showing a drawing of a single-celled organism called euglena. مش لازم الكويستشن يبقى targeting your syllabus. ممكن الكويستشن يجي out of syllabus and you apply your knowledge. So this is an unknown organism for you, the euglena. Okay? The organism has both features, animals and plants. عنده features من animal وعنده features من plant. Chloroplasts are usually found in the plant cells. صح. Describe in detail the function. يبقى he wants 3 marks on the function of chloroplast. يبقى أنا أقول له it contains chlorophyll which traps light and converts light energy into chemical energy. Also, chloroplasts store starch granules. Okay, يبقى I'm supposed to be awarded a mark for presence of chlorophyll, function of the chlorophyll, traps sunlight, converted into chemical energy, and storage of starch. This is the 3rd mark. Name one feature of euglena you would more likely to see in animal than a plant. هو بيقول it has some features of the animal, some features of the plant. What feature you would expect it to find in the animal? انتوا عارفين طبعا ان plants are not moving, they do not move. يبقى وعارفين ان الفلاجيلا لما اتكلمنا عن الفلاجيلا is the organ of motion في البكتيريا. يبقى I do not expect a plant to have a flagellum. So the feature is the flagellum, which is the organ of movement. I did not expect it to be found in a plant cell. Okay? طيب. Lastly, the size of the specimen. إيه size of the specimen ده? Imagine that we took a cell from your body. We took a scratch from your skin, a scratch from your inner cheek, and we put it on a slide, viewed it under microscope, and we drew a diagram. Okay? This is the diagram. طيب, in the diagram, this is cell X. And we measured the diameter of cell X. Cell X diameter on the diagram is 50 millimeter. Is this the original size of your cell? No, it is magnified. You drew the diagram. I'd like to calculate how many times you magnified this drawing. Okay, I'd like to calculate the magnification. طيب, what is magnification? Okay, magnification simply is a ratio between the image size and the actual size in nature. يعني we will measure the diameter of the cell in the diagram and then divide it by the diameter of the normal cell of your body. And then we calculate the ratio between both diameters. هو ده المagnification. Okay? طيب يبقى احنا we put here a rule اسمها the I am rule. ال I فوق ال A and then the M. يبقى calculating, if I want to calculate the actual equals ال A equals image over magnification. طب أنا مش عاوز الأكتوال، أنا عاوز magnification. M equals I over A. يبقى المagnification image divided actual size. So let's apply the rule here. This is the diagram. This is the diameter of the cell on the diagram. So this is the I, the image. The I equals 50 millimeter. Okay? Where is the magnification? Look for the magnification usually underneath the drawing on the right or the left side. يبقى هنا magnification equals times 1200. يبقى you've got the I, you've got the M. Can you calculate the A? يبقى ال A equal ال actual size equal I over M. يعني 50 over 1200. اوكي؟ الكلام ده هيبقى equal النمبر ده 0.0416 مليمتر. يبقى it's very simple to apply the rule. You've got the I, you've got the M. I divided M هيديني الأكتوال. اوكي؟ طيب usually you'll get a simple number for the core. If you get a very very small unsensible number يبقى you may use a smaller unit. ايه السمولر يونت؟ عندي يونت أصغر من المليمتر اللي هو المايكرومتر. 1 millimeter equal 1000 micrometer. لو النمبر is too small زي كده multiply by 1000. Move the decimal point 3 places يطلع لك a more sensible and usable number اللي هو 41.6 micrometer. بتتكتب كده micrometer. Okay? So let's try another question. The image shows an animal. The length of the animal in the image is 36 millimeter. اللينث بتاعه هنا كده 36 millimeter and this is the eye, the image. خلاص هو قايل اهو the actual is 12 يبقى this is the actual 12 millimeter. ال A equal 12 millimeter. معاك ال I معاك ال A get the magnification. So M equals I over A. الإيمج عندك 36 الأكتوال عندك 12 يبقى 36 على 12 يعني times 3. ما تنساش تحط اليونت بتاع المagnification times and it's before the number. يبقى I'll take the choice B. يبقى احنا حلينا واحدة we calculated the actual وحلينا واحدة تانية we calculated the magnification. That's it. Okay? Checking of the specs. What's required of you? You need to describe and compare the plant cell. Describe هنا معناها label. You need to label all structures of the plant cell and compare between the animal cell and plant cell concerning أهم حاجات تاخد بالك منها cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm, chloroplast, ribosomes, mitochondria and vacuoles. If you know how to compare and label those, you're covered. Describe the bacterial cell. Again, يقصد هنا label. Okay? You need to label cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, ribosome, circular DNA and plasmid. Identify the structures in diagram and image. يعني ايه diagram المرسوم بإيدي. image اللي هو الالكترون مايكروسكوب او الفوتو مايكروجراف صورة الالكترون مايكروسكوب اللي هي black and white دي. اوكي. Describe the functions of these structure. كنا قلنا في الاول خالص الاورجانيلز وكل واحد and its own function. الميتوكوندريا production of energy, respiration and production of energy. Ribosome synthesis of protein and so on. احفظ functions. State that new cells are produced by division from existing cells. طيب, this is called the cell theory. It's just a sentence. إنه the only way to produce cells is cell dividing. يعني cell وتعمل cell division producing a new cell. Okay? State the specialized cell have a special function. I need you for specialized cell إنك تقول لي the function plus the adaptations. Okay? For ciliated cells, root hair cell, palisade, neuron, RBCs, sperm and eggs. Again, we got this, we took all of this. What is the meaning of? يعني definition. عايز ال definitions. Again, it's in your notes. Should define the cell, the tissue, the organ system, and organism, and illustrate examples. I'll give you some examples and you tell me. مثلا mitochondria, this is an organelle. Flower is an organ. Brain is an organ, and so on. Okay, so you'll be given example and you need to determine its level of organization. طيب, lastly, the size of the specimen. You are required to state and use the formula. State يعني أنا ممكن أقول لك describe the formula أو state the formula. قول لي الفورمولا. You have to be ready memorizing the formula. Okay? يعني magnification equals image over size. مش لازم يجيبها لك. ممكن you can be asked about it to write it. So you have to study it. Use the formula يعني apply it in a word problem. Calculate magnification in millimeters. يبقى for core mostly you will find a sensible number by millimeter. خلي بالك a very 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 common mistake ان انت you measure with centimeter. هطلع لك ال outcome غلط. You always measure with millimeter. If you measure with centimeter, multiply by 10. Okay? طيب. If you find a very very small number, then you multiply by 1000 and convert it from millimeter to micrometer, and this is extended supplement يعني year 10. انت ما تعملوش في year 9 unless you are asked for or the number is very very small. So now you've covered the specification of topic 2, the cell structure and organization of living organisms. I hope this clarifies everything about topic 2, cell structure and levels of organization. Feel free to drop your comment below if you need any clarification about any other areas, and I will address it in the next videos. Until we meet again in the next video, all the best.